Welcome back to FitLab. Picture two guys wearing the exact same t-shirt. One looks average. One looks like his shoulders could barely fit through the doorway. Same height, same weight. So what actually separates them? The answer is a shape, not a size. It's called the V-taper, and it's built from a simple visual ratio between your shoulders and your waist. Your brain is wired to read that ratio as strength. Researchers have found that a wider shoulder-to-waist ratio is consistently perceived as more powerful and more athletic. But how do you actually build one in 90 days? Start with the science of width. Your shoulders get their width from the deltoids, especially the side, or lateral, head. Your back gets its width from the latissimus dorsi, the large wing-shaped muscles that flare out beneath your armpits. Grow those two areas, and your frame widens dramatically, even before your waist changes at all. Brad Schoenfeld, a leading researcher in muscle hypertrophy, has shown that mechanical tension is the primary driver of growth. Mechanical tension simply means the force your muscles experience while resisting a weight. Heavy pulling movements, like pull-ups and rows, load the lats under exactly this kind of tension. Overhead pressing and lateral raises do the same for your delts. Train both consistently, and those muscle fibers respond by getting thicker. Here's where it gets interesting. Most people obsess over crunches to shrink their waist. But spot reduction doesn't work that way. Your waist doesn't need to shrink to look narrower. It just needs contrast. Widen the shoulders and back enough, and your waist looks smaller by comparison, even if its measurement barely moves. This is a purely visual illusion, and it's the fastest lever you have in 90 days, because upper body muscle responds quickly to progressive overload, while spot-reducing fat around your midsection is far slower and far less reliable. So what does 90 days of training actually look like? Structure your week around pulling volume. Research published through the International Society of Sports Nutrition supports training each muscle group at least twice weekly for optimal growth. That means lat-focused pulling, like pull-ups, lat pull-downs, and cable rows, appearing in 2 or 3 sessions per week. Pair that with dedicated lateral raise work for your side delts, since that muscle head barely gets stimulated by pressing alone. Add compound overhead presses for overall shoulder mass. And don't neglect your core. A tight, trained midsection, even without fat loss, tightens the visual line between your ribs and hips. Nutrition matters just as much as the training itself. Building meaningful muscle in 90 days requires enough protein to support repair and growth. Spreading protein intake evenly across your meals to maximize muscle protein synthesis, the process your body uses to rebuild muscle fibers stronger after training. Combine that with a slight calorie surplus, or at minimum a maintenance intake, and your body has the raw materials it needs to widen that frame. Progressive overload ties everything together. Adding small amounts of weight, reps, or volume week after week is what actually forces your lats and delts to adapt. Without it, even a perfect program stalls. Track your lifts. Are you doing more this week than last week? If not, your shoulders won't be doing more either, and that V-taper stays exactly where it started. 90 days is enough time to see a real shift, not a finished physique, but a visibly different frame. Remember those two guys in the same t-shirt? The difference wasn't genetics or luck. It was pulling volume, lateral raises, protein timing, and consistent progressive overload, stacked week after week. Build the width. Let the waist take care of itself. That's FitLab. Subscribe, and start building your 90-day transformation today.